Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Intuitive Insights. My name is Dr. Yolanda Dukes, and today my guest is Umoh Luna of Sacred Branding. She's here to tell us all about her intuitive gifts and how she uses it for sacred branding. Hi, Umoh. How are you?
Hello, I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here with you.
Thank you for taking time out of your busy day.
Sure.
I got to tell you, you are just so beautiful. I just love your pictures. So you use yourself as your brand. You are your brand, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, that's what I always tell my clients, like, we're not Nike, we don't have millions of dollars to create a brand identity that's separate from who we are. So the most efficient and powerful way to create your brand is to build it around who you are and yourself and your energy.
Definitely. How did you start doing that?
Well, I was doing spiritual business coaching, just kind of, more broadly before. And I went through a real dark night of the soul, as a lot of people who are on this path kind of experience. And I was working really hard and in my way. I wasn't doing everything right. I was doing a lot of things wrong. But I was like not getting the traction that I wanted. Like my clients loved me, they would get great results, but I had a really hard time getting new ones. And so I just, wasn't making any money, and I went into this like very deep, dark depression. I lost everything that was important to me. I got evicted. I sold my car to pay my rent. Then I got evicted like 2 months later.
That is a typical dark night of the soul. Let me tell you, you figure out whether or not you truly want to live during that period of time, don't you?
That's exactly what was up for me big time, and I couldn't be with my daughter because I didn't have a safe place for her to be with me. So I had to leave her with her dad. And there was a time when I didn't see her for like months on end, and I would just cry myself to sleep every single night. I was so heartbroken and disappointed in myself. And I was like, maybe she'll just be better off without me. Maybe I should just kill myself and she will not have me in and out, in and out. It was so hard for me to want to stay here because I felt like such a failure. But I literally like went to the mountain, and I would always go hiking in this one place. This was on the winter solstice. And I would go on these night hikes. I heard, don't go to the top of the mountain tonight, like in my head. And like spirit was guiding me, and I was just so emotional and just like on the brink of giving up because I didn't know what else to do. And I was walking and I was crying, and I just like laid down on the trail in the dirt. And I was like, tell me what to do, God. What am I supposed to do?
Oh yeah, we can kind of laugh about it now, but it truly is no joke. It is the most painful, heart-wrenching thing that a human being can go through, because you literally lose everything that you thought was important. But there are good aspects to it too, but during, it doesn't feel very good.
No, it doesn't feel good. I was so lost, and I felt so terrible about myself. That was the part that was dragging me down the worst, is that how I felt about myself and how I felt like I let down the person that I loved the most. And I was like, okay, I need to decide, am I going or staying tonight? I need to decide. And I decided to stay because of her. She's the only reason. I didn't want her to think that I didn't love her enough to stay, that she wasn't for me to want to show up for her no matter how hard it was. And so I was like, okay, I have to do something different because just kind of hitting my head against the wall is not working.
Yeah.
So I opened myself, and when I was like, tell me what the fuck to do, God, I was literally screaming that. And it came, boom. And it was like, stop pretending to be something that you're not. Stop trying to be so professional. Stop trying to hide who you are because you think that's what people want to buy.
Wow.
And it was like, just show up and be real. And I'm like, okay, you know. So I did, and I started writing this 30-day Shine Bright project. And I didn't know what I was going to talk about. I didn't have a niche or anything. I just was like, I'm going to be in service. I'm going to show up. I'm going to share. I'm going to be vulnerable. I'm going to be real. I'm going to stop pretending like I have it all together. You know? And in the process of me doing that, I found like my brand voice. I found what people were attracted to. I found that as I let myself put down the walls and stop trying to protect myself and hide behind what I thought was professional, then actually people could connect with me and resonate with what I was sharing in my message. And that's when things started to shift. And for the first time, people started to come to me instead of me feeling like I had to chase, right?
Yeah.
And so that what I did in that 30 days was kind of like the foundation of everything that I teach in my business and now, and shifting it more specifically to branding and showing up and being seen and expressing yourself, and how you are an integral part of your brand, and how when you are vulnerable and real and get naked and use your brand to reveal who you are instead of using it as a mask to hide behind, that's when you're going to attract your ideal clients, you know?
Wow. It's, I'm tearing up here because I know I truly get it. I have been there. And these are deep and wonderful conversations to help other men and women. Because I know for me, when I was going through it and I asked for that help, please help me. At that time, my guides were you need to help yourself. There's nothing wrong with you. But my life is falling apart. There's nothing wrong with you. You need to get through this. You need to make a decision. Are you going to make it, or are you done? So my heart is out there. If you feel this message and you are going through it and you don't know where you're going to live tomorrow, you don't have any idea where you're going to drive tomorrow, you don't know if you're going to eat tomorrow, let me tell you, it's worth staying in the game. It's truly worth it. You're just being cleansed of all the things and all the BS that you were taught, and it's time to let go of it. And the easier you let go, the sooner it'll stop hurting so bad.
That is so true and so important. And I love how you said the easier, when you let go, it'll stop hurting. And that was the part that was keeping me trapped and kept me there literally for years, was that this contraction and holding on to this idea of what I thought I was supposed to do and what I thought it was supposed to look like and who I thought I was allowed to be, if I wanted to be in the business realm. So I think that's such an important thing to highlight,
because your light is new. So there's no blueprint for you to follow about how to be you, right?
Yeah. That's something I talk about too, is, don't follow cookie cutter approaches. And yes, strategy is super important, but if you just focus on the strategy, you're not going to succeed, because you need to make sure that, first of all, you're doing this deeper inner work around all the stuff, which is usually the real reason why you're not succeeding, not because your strategy is wrong, right? And then the other piece is you need to build a strategy that's in alignment with who you are and what your unique energetic blueprint is. That's the blueprint to follow, not someone else's cookie cutter formula,
So how do you coach a new person who is just starting a business and they don't know what to do? What's the first bit of advice that you can give?
Well, I'll answer that in two ways. I'll answer in what I would do if they were my client, then I'll answer in just a general way. If they were my client, I would start them with my Sacred Branding Blueprint session, which is all about their internal blueprint, which is half astrological reading and half brand strategy.
Oh, that's beautiful. Okay.
Yeah. So first I would look, let's see who you are in your birth chart and who you came here to be, and what are your gifts, and what's your spiritual destiny. what's your core wound? Like that's what we're going to look at, and that's what we'll launch your business from, right? And so the way I do it is your core wound is your niche, because the place that you have suffered the most is the place that you have the most wisdom to give, right? So when I share the places where I suffered the most, that's where I lead people out of that darkness, because I've been there and I know that pain so intimately. And so I've gathered a lot of wisdom from that place. So that's where your niche is. And then your spiritual destiny is the direction that you're going in, right? So that's where you want to build your brand identity around, because no matter what happens or shifts in your business, that can always stay the same. That energy will always be like your North Star, your guiding point that's in alignment with the spiritual path and the spiritual destiny that you came here to live. So that's what I would do if you were my client.
So to start off, and this ring, it just resonates right now, because what you don't know is the interview I just did an hour ago, she's an astrologer.
Oh, that's so funny.
It's beautiful. So do you start the same way? You get the birth date? Are you doing a whole natal chart? What are you doing?
Exactly. I get their whole birthday. I look at their whole natal chart, and those are the things I look at. And then I look at what's going on in their money houses, their work houses, their career houses, in addition to that other stuff. But I also look where the hidden feminine power is. Most of my clients are women. Every once in a while I get a man, but he has to be a certain kind of man that's like very secure in who he is and open-hearted and connected, you know. So yeah, that's exactly what I dive deep into the chart. And then we say, okay, let's apply this. The second half, let's apply this to the practical strategy of how does what show up in your chart translate to who's your ideal client? What exactly are you selling? You know, where are you selling it? What marketing channels are you using? All of that sort of stuff. What's your message? So that's the second half of let's bring it all down to the practical and grounded of like, how are you going to actually utilize this information in your business? So that's how I start off all of my clients. And I feel like that's a big part of why we get big results. And I'll kind of go back to the brand identity. So I use brand archetypes, right? So like I was saying, every big business, uses brand archetypes and spends millions of dollars on their brand identity. So for example, Nike is the hero, right? Victoria's Secret is the lover. Dove is the innocent, right? So they'll just give you those ones that are like easy to see the energy and kind of feel that imprint, right? So it's kind of interesting because there's 12 traditional branding archetypes that every big business major corporation uses, but they're actually based on Carl Jung's archetypes. So I just love that, you know, first of all. So anyway, so what I've done is I've created a system where I've layered the 12 traditional branding archetypes onto the 12 astrological signs.
Okay, so I just want to be for clarity. So you're taking like the personality aspects of the signs, and then that's how you build the archetype?
Yes, I wouldn't use the word personality. I use the word like more like energetic imprints.
Okay, yes, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So then what's in your, so then we can look at the sign that's in your spiritual destiny, and then I take the archetype, and then those are your brand archetypes, right? And that's the energy of what's leading and how you're showing up, the part of yourself that you're bringing forward. So for example, like I was sharing about myself, I was trying to be like a ruler queen archetype because I thought that's what you were supposed to do if you were going to be in business. And if I was to be taken seriously, that's what I needed to do, right? But in my chart, my archetypes are the lover and the magician. So that was totally out of alignment, and that's why I wasn't making money, because I was putting out energy that was out of alignment with who I really am. So people could feel that, and it's not attractive to them, right? And they might know why, but they're just
not authentic.
Exactly, you know. So like what I shared, what the spirit told me that night, you know, was stop pretending, be vulnerable, reveal yourself. That was all about the lover, because the lover is about intimacy. It's about connection. You can't have intimacy and connection if you're not being authentic and you're not being vulnerable, you know?
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. So the lover's also about sensuality and sexual energy and all of that stuff. And that's, you know, a little through line in the background of someone.
I totally get that from you. I mean, what I hope you realize you are really exuding that, and it's just sexy as I don't know what. Really, you got it. You hit it.
Thank you. Yeah, and that's a journey that I have to go through, because I, in certain ways, don't feel beautiful. I don't fit in the traditional model of what society says is beautiful. I'm not skinny, you know, like I'm not white. I'm just gonna say it, you know what I mean? Of like blonde hair and blue eyes. Like this is what is the definition, right? So I have to do my work to unravel the story around who I'm allowed to be. And I have to believe and trust that I am beautiful, and allow myself to live and experience that. And partly that's in service of my bigger mission, you know? So there's a lot of stuff there.
Truly, as your light shines in the beautiful flavor of who you are, it helps everybody else, because there's a small bit of the population that are blonde hair and blue eyes, you know, right? And the rest of us, dark hair, and everything in between, you know, from straight hair to curly hair. And, you know, that's just something that we've seen on television that's supposed to be this image of beauty that's left out 99% of the population.
Yeah.
So who could believe that in this time of awakening? It's no longer valid. We're here. We're beautiful. We're women. We are sexy. We're sensual, and that we should be able to share without harm and without hurt and without having to explain ourselves for being who we are.
Yes. Exactly. I love that. And that's, you know, what I want to encourage everyone to, you know, whoever it is that you are and whatever your version of beautiful is, to like open up to that and allow yourself to express it and share it. And that's part of your magic. And it's not a superficial thing, you know. Everyone has their own unique version of what's beautiful about them, you know, and maybe what you were taught was what makes you ugly, you know. Mm-hmm. I mean, when I was a kid, kids used to make fun of me, and they used to call me Medusa because my hair was all crazy, you know. I used to cry and pray for God to make my hair straight and flat.
Hey, I used to get called Pippi Longstocking. I had 2 pigtails that always stuck out like this, okay?
See, I love Pippi Longstockings. I would have been ecstatic if somebody would have called me Pippi Longstocking.
Yeah. Oh,
if I did that, it wouldn't work.
Oh, God. But, you know, I think at this point, from this perspective, having had that dark night experience, previous to that, realizing that I was intuitive and empathic, I kept thinking, this is a stupid gift. What good does this do? Like, I'm just feeling people and emotional. I mean, I was really not understanding the gift for what it is. And then I had that clarifying experience of the dark night, and could happily go into these QHHT sessions and connect with people that are having a difficult time, just finding their joy and understanding who they are as human beings. So if you're out there thinking that your gift is silly or ridiculous, or you don't know how to use it, you just haven't found yourself yet. That's all.
That's so true. I think that's such a good point, and I'm glad you're bringing this up. And I will be honest, I still struggle with my gifts in certain ways. I still get overwhelmed by the intensity of other people's energy and just feeling it so strongly, and differentiating sometimes like what's my energy and what someone else is, you know. Mm-hmm. It's still I don't have it mastered, and I know that I'm able to like hold people in this really deep, beautiful space and way because of those spiritual gifts, and that I can see into their soul, and I can pull things out, and we can move fast because of that gift, right? And then we all have different gifts. Some people are more gifted in this way than others. Like I say like everybody can run, but everybody's not going to run a 4-minute mile, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, but if you're listening to this, you probably can run a 4-minute mile in the version of spiritual gifts, right?
Definitely.
Yeah, so I always say, you probably, like myself, I didn't realize how much I was using that, my intuition and my spiritual gifts. I just thought I was smart. I didn't really think about the fact that there's no way you could have known that intellectually. I just didn't factor that in because it was so outside of the way I was raised. I was raised in a very intellectual, religious home, so there was no room or space or talk of intuition. I had no reference point for it. So what I would say is that, you probably are already using it. You probably are already using it in a big way. You just don't know it because it's so natural and instinctual that you can't tell the difference, you know?
Mm-hmm. Very true. That's a wonderful point. It is. The gifts are subtle, or you may be intuitive and feeling. My best friend says, girl, you've always been like this. You've always been that feeling person. You always live life by your feelings. And I do. Contrary to what the universe may look like on the outside, if I'm not feeling, I'm not feeling. It's just not going to happen. You cannot poke me, prod me, or bribe me to do something that I'm not feeling. It's not going to happen, But I can say that now and stand strong because I trust it, and that's what these are about, talking to other people and connecting and letting you know you are not alone. Your gifts do mean something. The companies and businesses that you want to start need you. They need that energy and they need that authenticity.
Yes. Okay, that reminds me. I wanted to go back of what I was going to say before. So you were saying, what would I tell? How would I coach somebody if they were starting out? So let me say what I would say to someone that I didn't have the opportunity to look at their chart and know them. That I would say, like you said, it's kind of connecting to your emotion and your feelings. So where are you naturally drawn? Like for me, I was naturally drawn to business. I had no reason to be drawn to business. I have no real world experience. I didn't graduate from college. I never worked a day in my life in corporate America. I didn't make a lot of money. I had no reason on paper to be super drawn to business. But now I know, I look in my chart, there's a whole bunch of stuff in my chart that shows that I have gifts around business and strategy, right? So I would say, even if it doesn't make sense on paper, go to what you're drawn to, right? Don't let somebody else tell you. And I had coaches tell me, I don't see business for you, right? because it wasn't on paper, right? Mm-hmm. But when I followed my truth, yes, it was a messy, years-long process, not because my gifts weren't there, but because I didn't believe in myself, because I was hiding who I really was, and I wasn't willing to put myself really out there, But I've helped my clients to cross the six-figure line. I've helped my clients sell out their classes, sell $10,000 paid in full packages. Like I've helped people do all kinds of things, get internationally known. I wouldn't have been able to share these gifts and help people do what I do if I would have worried about what was on paper, because it wasn't there at all. Oh, yeah. I was a waitress before this. I bartended. I was a mom. I didn't have anything like that in my, credentials. So don't worry about your credentials.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what you did. It just bring your energy. You just
Yeah. So that's what I would say. Follow what you are naturally attracted to, and follow what your heart is calling you to, even if it doesn't make sense. And then the other side is bring what's easy. So I didn't really, this is where the magician side comes in. I didn't care about the magician side. I didn't honor it because it's easy for me. I was always helping people and fixing their problems and telling them what to do, and going into the deeper emotional reasons of why they were doing whatever they were doing. And that was boring to me in a certain way because it was so easy and I didn't value it.
Yeah.
So that's the other side of like, don't, it's to like the things that you've always been good at. Like I've always been good at writing. And that's what I do. I help my clients with their copy and their message and their languaging. but I didn't notice that as a gift because it's just such a normal part. So that's another thing, is like the things that you're good at that you might dismiss because you've always been good at, those are going to be things you really want to make sure to incorporate in your business because you want to make it easy, right?
Yeah, because it's supposed to be.
Exactly.
You shouldn't have to work 90,000 hours a week,
Exactly. And one of my mentors, she says, the things that come easiest to you are the things you should be paid the most for.
Yeah. And for me, I want to just share, like, I had no idea what type of job or business that I could possibly start. The only thing I knew is that when I got off work, I really enjoyed listening to hypnosis sessions. I was fascinated about what spirit was talking about. I had to know, but it never dawned on me about being the practitioner.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, when we talk about that natural, being authentic, that's what we mean. You're doing something that you love, you just haven't got the full picture of it just yet.
Exactly. I love the way you said that, it's perfect, like encapsulation.
Yeah, so what if they come to you with a chart? Because the last interview, she does your chart too, which I know you do, but what if they already come to you and they've got their chart already done?
Well, so two things I would say about that. First of all, I'm not an astrologer. I don't call myself an astrologer. So I've studied astrology for over 20 years, and it's like kind of like how you are with the hypnosis, right? I actually got into astrology because when I was younger, I was very insecure and awkward and boy crazy all at once. Right? And so for me, astrology was a way to try and get the edge with boys, and I was super shy, So it was like that was like my secret backdoor weapon of like, okay, here's what I can. I'll figure out his sign, and I'll know what he likes and how he is and what he is attracted to, and then I'll give it to him.
You are sneaky.
Sneaky, right? And it worked. And so I started to learn more and more about astrology, right? And then I started to learn about the fact that you had a whole chart and not just your sign, and then there's houses and aspects and asteroids and all these other things, right?
Yeah.
So basically, the way I approach astrology is maybe a little different than maybe a traditional astrologer would approach it. I have never taken any astrology courses in the traditional manner. I have no astrology certification, but I have 20 years of investigation and deep diving and detective work.
That counts. It counts.
That's how I kind of approach the reading. So the other thing is I approach it from that deep detective place of like, we're going to find what we're looking for. So the other thing is, okay, astrology is a huge thing. Like, there's literally thousands of different things I could look at in someone's chart, right? With all the houses, the signs, the aspects, the planets, the asteroids, the angles. There's so many
squares and the trines and the nodes.
Exactly. The nodes, yeah, those are the angles, squares, triangles. Those are the aspects. So you can get your chart read by like 6 different people, and they can tell you some same themes will show up, but they can tell you completely different things based on what kind of reading they're doing and what they're looking for in your chart. So when I do a reading for someone, I'm doing a reading for your soul purpose, your business, work, brand, money. That's what I'm looking at first and foremost. So that's why my reading is going to be different than an average or traditional astrologer who's going to give you like the overview of your life or something. I'm going to give it to you through the lens of what I can see intuitively in your chart, and then tie that in with all of my business expertise and strategy, and how I see what is there can align with the strategies that I know are powerful and that work and that convert.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh. I'm blown away. I'm absolutely, my mom used to dabble in astrology and cards and hypnosis. I'm totally like her, okay? And I love the fact that you're doing this. I love that you have incorporated your intuition and your gifts this way. It's beautiful. And I'm telling you, you're going to help so many people with what you're doing. It's truly beautiful. So we are almost out of time. Do you have any more messages that you'd like to share today?
Okay, let me take a moment and tune in and say, I just want to encourage you, if you're listening to this, that I want to encourage you to trust yourself and to trust spirit and trust the divine, and that you are held, you are supported, you are guided, and to just keep taking those steps and to trust that even if it doesn't make sense to other people. And I just want to hold you in so much love and honor and respect for being brave enough to even venture on this journey, because most people never will. Most people will stay trapped in the prison of a life that someone else told them they were supposed to lead. So I want to just bow down to you in admiration for being willing to be on this journey, and send you so much love as you continue, because I know that you will. So just watch for the signs and keep moving and keep trusting yourself and fuel yourself with belief, and surround yourself with people who believe in you and who see your greatness. And that's going to be what's going to pull you forward.
Definitely. And how can people reach you?
So you can reach me at umoh@sacredbranding.com. And I wanted to offer a little gift. I don't know how far out this is going to be.
It's going to be tomorrow. I'm going to post it tomorrow.
So this is what I wanted to offer people, because Mercury's just come out of retrograde.
Yes, it
right?
has.
In the sign of Leo, which is all about like expansion and expression and being seen and showing up, right? And being the star. So this is all stuff that helps you to get out there and get your work into the world, right? So what I wanted to offer people, if they are interested, is a 15-minute Mercury retrograde session, where I will just take a quick peek at your chart, and we're going to look at this one piece of where Mercury is in retrograde, where it's transiting in your chart, where it's hitting, so you can kind of harvest what's up for you as this is completing, and what you want to bring out of this Mercury retrograde time to launch yourself and your brand in a bigger way into the world.
Oh, wow. Oh, I think people are going to take advantage of that. That's lovely. So you have a website set up?
I do. It's my website, sacredbranding.com.
Branding.com. And they can email you if they've got questions.
Yes. Email me if you have questions. You can connect with me on Facebook. You can friend me there. I do a lot more of stuff on social media than I do pretty much anywhere else.
I know, it's kind of popular, you know, like everybody's there when you've got a business or a brand and you're attempting to get in contact with people. So I definitely understand that. Well, Umoh, thank you again, sweetheart. You are just lovely. I love your energy. Thank you for taking time out to explain your beautiful gift, and thank you for offering such a kind and generous gift to the viewers out there.
Oh, thank you, and thank you so much for having me. And I enjoy connecting and sharing space with you, and I'm happy to be able to be here today. So thank you. Thank you.
Ever so welcome. Bye, guys.